Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Zoom Civil Service meeting, Wednesday, October 23rd. This is a special meeting. And Louisa will take attendance.
Yeah.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on September 18th, 2024. Thank you, Barbara. And a second. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, if there are any general public people waiting there? I assume not. Everybody's voting. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the new business item. That will be the approval of the eligibility list for the senior mechanic of the Trumbull Highway Department, which was an internal promotion. And I see that there was only one candidate, but just a minute, I don't think I took a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting, did I? I took
Yeah,
a
you
motion and a
You did.
second,
You
did
did.
we vote?
You did.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, sorry,
Okay. So,
yeah, could we just talk about that for a second? Mhm.
sure. So as Ann noted, this was an internal promotion only. So it was only a bit open to six, I think 5 or 6 people total, because you needed to already be a mechanic in Trumbull, in the highway department, in the department that fixes the equipment. Okay. There were a total of 3 candidates that applied. 2 of them were not Trumbull employees, so they were not able to actually do the test or participate in the test. And the third participant, Mr. Trazi, is currently a Trumbull employee, so he successfully passed the test, and all else is in order with this list.
Are we limiting the field that we draw from for our employees when we limit it to an internal promotion and we don't meet a certain number of people internally, move it to the outside? How do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the other guys in the department didn't apply, right? But the department certainly views this, and I think the union does too, as a promotional opportunity, right? That you're, really should be an internal opportunity. It's essentially the lead guy, and there's a manager over the top, and then this would be the number 2 guy in the department. And there's a lot of department specific experience you need really to be able to do that, right? Because you do things a little bit different here, as you do in every department. So yes, I think if your question, Ian, is, where we, um, where we are not comfortable that we have skilled enough or experienced enough people in the internally, we would need to obviously go outside as well, and we often do that. In this particular case, I think the department was very comfortable that a number of the guys had the necessary experience to do the job. Just so happens that only one applied.
Okay. I do believe that it may limit our pool. In this case, it turned out to be, as you say, totally acceptable. But if the internal promotions, which I applaud, limit our pool, I think we should look at it at a future
That brings
date.
up I don't want to get into it here, but that is part of the discussion later today.
Okay.
Because it is related. There's 2 pieces to what I want to talk about today. One is the transfer list, but related to that is also the idea of having promotional and open competitive lists at the same time.
Okay.
So I don't want to get sidetracked, but
Okay,
It's a good
Okay.
question, and I
Okay.
understand the commission's concern. I think in this particular case, it's not an issue. We have somebody fully qualified who has passed the test. But it certainly could be in other circumstances.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Yep.
So I need a motion to approve the eligibility list for the Trumbull Highway Department. And thank you, Alice. And a second, Michelle, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, pass. We'll move on to the request to advertise and recruit for general foreman of the highway department. It's open and competitive.
Yes.
So there's the suggestion is 30% training and experience and 70% an oral exam.
So
Okay.
this job has not been open for a long time. I think Tom Baldwin got the job in 2008. He is retiring after 40 years with the town. There's a definite there may be an internal candidate, but this is the number, not counting the director, this is the number 2 spot in the highway department. So it is an important supervisory, managerial, technical spot. And so we are doing using the same testing methodology that was used the last time it was done. I reviewed that with the highway department management. We all can think that it is appropriate. So it'll be a training experience portion that we will score off of applications and resumes, and then that'll be followed by a panel interview. The panelists will be at least 2 of the panelists will be from other towns. We'll have a set series of questions and score the candidates on how they respond. So that's the plan for this job. It's a critical job. We'd like to get it posted as soon as possible because it will be a difficult one to fill.
Okay, I looked over the statement of duties, responsibilities, the qualifications. It's quite extensive. I don't have any questions. Does anyone on the board have any questions about it? All right.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, then we need a motion to advertise and recruit for the general foreman highway department opening. It's a competitive position, 30% training and experience and 70% an oral exam. Do I hear a motion? Okay, thank you, Barbara. And a second, Alice, thank you. It's moved and seconded. So all in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Thanks. No opposition, no abstentions. Perfect. Motion carries. And finally, a review and discussion of the proposed transfer list, rules and procedures. So I'd like to say that let's take a look at this and see if anyone has any questions. And
so maybe if you please,
go ahead.
It might be good for the board to hear a little background of what this comes from and what it's based on. Okay, so if you look at the Civil Service Board Rule 5, which concerns the method of filling vacancies, and in particular paragraph A, first paragraph, it references a transfer list. Okay, and as is noted in the first part of the document that I handed out, it covers the transfer of an employee from another department in an equivalent class and grade. So you have to be in the same labor grade, same may be effective upon request of the appointing authority with the approval of the Civil Service Board and prior notification to the unions. Number two, the board shall maintain a list of names desiring to transfer and shall use such in filling vacancies when there's no reemployment list. So the rules state that the first step would be a reemployment list, which we haven't had here in many years. Thankfully, that means there hasn't been a layoff, right? So a reemployment list would be somebody who was laid off. After that, you would look at the transfer list and then go to either a promotional or an open competitive list for your ability to appoint someone. Being on the transfer list does not give you a right to a position in the same labor grade. It only gives you the opportunity to be considered if you'd like to be considered. And the appointing authority has the ability to choose or not choose. And if they didn't choose, then we would move on and come to the board and get permission to post and test for for the particular job. There are nothing in the rules that I can see that tells you how the list is maintained, what it should look like, who's out, how long you stay on it. So I think it's up to the board to decide and create that policy. I've taken a look at putting together, some procedures that I think make sense, but it's really the board's purview to make changes. And this may not be the kind of thing that we can do in one meeting. It may require perhaps the board deciding to create a subcommittee to work with the staff here to come back, or just another meeting, just move it, review it and bring it up again or put it on the agenda for the October meeting. But that's really at the pleasure of the board. So I'm happy to answer any and all questions about what we're asking you to consider.
My initial question under number one, under the transfer list procedure, there is language about certified promotional employment or open competitive. But my question is really and truly what you're saying is all full-time permanent employees
who have already
transfer list, right? This isn't
they are permanent
anyone,
employees.
is it?
No, what we're saying is they are permanent employees
Right.
who are in their job through the civil service process already, right? So they've already passed the test, been certified, been appointed. Now they're interested. Now they're putting their name on a list to be considered for a similar job, if not the same job, in another department that they've already proven through the testing process they're qualified.
It doesn't eliminate anyone, does it?
No. Anybody who's, yes, it doesn't eliminate anybody because you wouldn't be a permanent full-time employee if you hadn't been certified through a certified list. Yes.
I thought we would put a period after the word employees, all full-time permanent employees, period. No matter how they got there. That's all.
We could.
No, it's okay.
Again, this is your policy and procedure, not mine.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't eliminating any full-time permanent employees by the other specific language. Because they're either one way or the other, right?
Well, because the rule is very clear that you have to be in the same equivalent labor grade and or job class. If you weren't, you know what I mean? You couldn't, you couldn't go for another job certified in the classified service if you weren't already in the classified. It's automatically in the classified service. So it really effectively doesn't lock anybody out.
Okay. What is it?
Did I confuse everybody with that explanation? Michelle's looking funny at me like I just talked in a circle. I didn't mean to.
Okay, so the next item I see here is that you are putting a 3-year sunset on the list.
So in conversations with, and I should add by way of background, this came to us from one of the unions who said, hey, the rules say there should be a transfer list and there isn't. And why, we think it's a good idea. I said, I think it's a good idea too. So in thinking about it, and based on my experience in New Haven, right, where we had a transfer list, I thought it would be good that we would limit to some length of time your name being on the list. That does not stop you from reapplying
Right,
when your 3 years are up, but it would prompt the department to send you a notice and say, hey, your time on the transfer list is coming up. If you want to stay on it, you have to reapply. And that way you don't end up with somebody who put their name on it 6 years ago that you call up and,
Yeah.
and say, hey, do you want this transfer? And they say, well, I don't even know why they forget they put their name on the list.
Mhm.
It's just a practical rule. There's no magic to 3. Could be
no,
5,
no,
could be a
I
year.
think that's a good number. I don't,
Yeah.
anybody else have an opinion about that, but,
I think that makes sense
yeah,
to have a time
Sure.
limit.
right, I agree. The other part of that is, in an ideal world, then the employees would keep track of their own sign up, how many years they're on the
Mhm.
list. But will human resources, have a
So
program when they're kicked out? Okay,
Yeah, so what we'll do is, there'll be occasionally an agenda item where we'll bring the transfer request to the board, right?
good,
And then
yeah,
you'll approve the request, and then we'll add to the list. And if the board wanted, similar to your request, to have a report, which we'll make sure we put on the November meeting agenda. You asked for a report on positions that have been filled, right?
yes,
Through the civil service
yes.
process. And we'll
Mhm.
get that initial report will be coming in November. We could do a very brief 1 sentence,
Okay,
the transfer list. But yes, we
Okay.
will keep the list here with dates, and it'll be our responsibility to maintain it.
Number 4 just talks about qualifications, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's possible for someone to be in the same labor grade and not exactly the same
Right.
title, but it still may make sense for them to move, right? Because
Right.
it's similar skills.
Okay. And there's no penalty if I see in number 6, there's no penalty if life comes at them and they can't take a change in their position and they're not eliminated.
Correct.
Okay, and there's a typo in number 7. It says employees on the transfer list may remove their name
Yes. Should be from the list.
from the list.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, that's the teacher in me, checking.
No claim that I'm a good typist.
The application is simple.
Right?
It's whatever information you need is on, I guess. I wouldn't know.
What's that? Say that again?
I'm saying the application for the transfer list application is simple, and I applaud that and say that if that's the information you need, so be it,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we would need more than that, right?
Well,
They
then fine
don't
with
need
me.
a reason to be on it. They just,
Right,
hey, if something comes up and it looks good to me, we have jobs at the golf course, we have jobs in the library, maybe you want to work in a different department. Why not?
I'm all about opportunity, so
Right.
good. Those are my questions. I don't know if anyone else,
Will there be
I
a
just-
limit to the number of names on the list?
No,
No.
No, because
Good question.
again, and here's what would happen, Michelle. We would make them aware of, hey, this opening is coming. Are you interested? And if they say no, then nothing happens. And so if we say that to 5 people and 5 people say they're interested, then we give all 5 names to the appointing authority and they can decide what, they can talk to them, not talk to them. Uh, you know, this is a small place. It's not like people don't know who people are. And then make a decision. They're under no obligation to hire. This does not give you a right to a position. It just gives you the opportunity to be considered.
So would there be like a mass, like an email to everyone on the transfer list? Because maybe someone's in a completely different department where HR wouldn't necessarily think that they would have an interest in a different
No,
position.
we would, if a job opens in a labor grade, there's letter labor grades, and I use the mate contract as an example, right? So their labor grades are letters A, B, C, D, E. So if a job opportunity comes up in range F, we would notify everybody on the transfer list in range F. Hey, there's this opportunity, similar job. Here's where it is. Are you interested? And that would happen. That would happen automatically as part of the hiring, the getting ready to post and deciding how we're going to fill the job procedure. So they wouldn't have to watch for a posting, right?
Right. Yep.
And it's not really a promotional, it's a lateral
No,
move.
it's
a
not.
lateral move, right?
That's correct.
That's why you can limit it to only saying F people get this. Because those are the only people who are eligible for a lateral move. Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're saying. Because we're
Okay.
saying that the skill and experience in that same level is similar. It's not going to be exactly the same, right? But it's going to be very similar. And they've already proven by way of a competitive or promotional exam that they have the skills or they wouldn't be in their current job, right?
Mhm.
That's different than somebody who's at a job in range F and wants to be considered for a job in FF or G. That's a separate topic that we should discuss as a group too, because there the town traditionally has either made it a promotional exam, open only, to
Right.
people in like the one we just approved today, or it's been open and competitive and open to everyone. The particular bargaining unit that I spoke with is of the opinion that there's nothing in the rules that prevent us from having both lists available so that internal people could be considered. They recognize that might not be enough for every position, the exact problem and you were concerned about, right? And so that you would have a promotional list and an open competitive list. I don't know how that works, and I don't know if that fits within the rules. And I think if we wanted, and if the board would like to consider that, then the action the board might take would be to ask for a legal opinion on what's possible under the rules, and or whether we need to make a rule change to do it, and or whether you want to do that.
I see two goals here. To keep happy employees.
Yes.
And also to have rules and regulations that everybody can see so that everybody is aware of how the system is working.
Yes.
And so today.
So today I've only asked you to consider the transfer list.
Yes.
I think the other topic is, and
going
we can
forward,
spend some time on it. We should have a separate agenda item in the November meeting just to talk about it. Because I think the board needs to understand the background of where the request comes from in this particular union. in my opinion, it's a very legitimate concern / request, and it's absolutely in line with what we just talked about in terms of promotional opportunities for our employees and wanting to make sure people have opportunities.
Right.
Where appropriate.
So, is the board comfortable with making a motion today to, accept what is now the draft civil service transfer list policy? Any, should
Yes.
we go?
Yeah.
I'm comfortable going forward with it. I don't know if everyone else had a chance to review it. If so, I need a motion to accept the Civil Service Board transfer list policy that we just discussed. Okay, Barbara, and a second? Okay, Alice, so it has been moved and seconded that we go ahead and accept or approve what is now the draft of Civil Service Board transfer list policy and take it out of draft form and make it permanent.
Mhm.
So Steve, let me ask you,
So you need to vote if you're gonna accept.
yes, I know, just before we do
Yep.
that, I have one question.
Sure.
And that is, does this become attached to the civil service rules, or does this have to go through legal first?
No,
Or
the board
are
has, in my opinion, the board, and I think it's very clear, the board has the authority to set its own
Okay.
policies and procedures.
Okay, thank you. So it is moved and seconded that we go ahead and accept the transfer list policy. All in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Thank you. No opposition and no abstentions. Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Very good. All right. Moving forward.
Mhm.
So I
Now
guess
you need a motion to just,
concludes the business for today. So I move that we adjourn. Could I have a second, please? Everybody's. Thank you, Barbara. And all in favor. Take care, everyone.
okay, thank you, board
Steve.
members,
Thank
again for
you.
your cooperation. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Take
Yep.
care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Enjoy this
Bye-bye.
beautiful
Bye.
weather one more day.
No, so true.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be over soon.